Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers in the United States holding a distribution for victims of the Santa Clarita fire. And we meet Xu Qinghua and see how he has overcome life's challenges to care for his sick children. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee Shioda. Thank you for joining us. In the United States, a wildfire erupted in California's Santa Clarita Valley on July 22nd, with more than 38,000 acres burned and many households threatened. Currently, firefighters have contained 97% of the blaze. To offer their assistance, Tzu Chi volunteers hosted an emergency aid distribution for affected residents.
A wildfire caused by the drought broke out in the Santa Clarita Valley of California in the United States. The blaze has mushroomed for some 10 days and burned a total area of 166 square kilometers, with 18 households completely destroyed and 10,000 families ordered to evacuate. After most of the fire was contained, Tzu Chi volunteers in California began to survey the disaster areas. What they witnessed is that everything has been scorched.
This is the garage of his house. The car was burned down with nothing left intact and all of the things burned to ashes. Another 16 buildings in a community are still on fire, so we cannot enter that area to help.
Give you a hug.
There. Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, we'll go home.
Yeah.
In early August, Tzu Chi Foundation and other 21 organizations collaborate to launch a disaster relief work and an aid distribution event in New Hope. Tzu Chi volunteers provide the affected residents with cash cards and blankets.
I hope tomorrow we get ready. Okay, we're getting better.
Tzu Chi volunteers bring love and care to these affected residents to put them at ease, and will continue to provide further assistance and help them get back on their feet.
Thank you.
In Keelung, Taiwan, Tzu Chi care recipient Mrs. Chen, who suffers from dementia, has a habit of hoarding garbage in her house, making it unsanitary to live in. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers have been mobilized to help clean up her home once more, all in the hopes of giving her a more comfortable living environment.
Tzu Chi volunteers from Keelung carry cleaning supplies and tools to this old apartment.
About a month ago, Mrs. Chen asked us to help her clean up the house. I think she felt uncomfortable because she was bitten by fleas.
Every corner of this house, including the bed and ground, is covered with garbage and spoiled food. This is the home of 68-year-old Tzu Chi care recipient Mrs. Chen. 5 years ago, Tzu Chi volunteers came and helped her clean up the house. Today, after 5 years, they witness the same scene, smell the same things, and repeat the same process, as if a video was rewound.
We have long been caring for her. It's difficult to improve her living environment because she always responds to us by simply smiling no matter how hard we try to convince her. Her health condition is getting worse and worse, and the doctor gave her a report proving that she suffers from dementia.
Tzu Chi volunteers return to her place to conduct the cleanup. Their minds are so in sync that they even to clean in the same manner as the previous effort. However, they have different opinions on one thing. Tzu Chi volunteers make every effort to clean up Mrs. Chen's house, hoping to do it thoroughly without injuring or killing any animals.
I saw many volunteers joining in to help out. I feel grateful for being part of this and having the chance to help Mrs. Chen.
Apart from the cleanup, Tzu Chi volunteers also invites a professional barber to help Mrs. Chen trim her hair and nails. For Tzu Chi volunteers, carrying out never-ending relief work for the needy is an obligation. It may happen that this senior will forget about Tzu Chi's assistance and continue to let garbage accumulate. But Tzu Chi volunteers will keep checking on her and remember her as a senior in need of care.
Natural disasters continue unabated and the climate is changing unpredictably. The entire world is facing the effects of global warming. One of the largest contributors of greenhouse gases is the food industry, especially livestock farming. People's consumption of so much meat is a major contributor to the changing of climates. Let's take a look at how encouraging vegetarianism might be an excellent solution to this problem.
The world is heating up. Carbon dioxide emissions are increasing at a very fast pace, and the trend shows no signs of stopping. Global warming is caused by releasing lots of elements into the atmosphere. Heavy industry has changed the atmosphere.
In Taiwan, between 1911 and 2009, average temperature rose 1.4 degrees Celsius, an increase of 0.14 degrees Celsius every year, nearly twice the global average increase.
If the temperatures increases gradually across regions, then different arboviruses will have the opportunity to spread to new places, carried by insects like mosquitoes, and the risk of infectious outbreaks will also be higher in these new regions.
According to World Health Organization statistics, malaria, dengue fever, and Japanese encephalitis infect about 10 million people a year and have resulted in over 1 million deaths.
With the rise in global temperatures, the habitable regions of the world's mosquitoes will increase. This will lead to larger outbreaks of infectious diseases.
Livestock emissions are a huge factor in total emissions, accounting for 9% of CO2 emissions, 65% of nitrous oxide, and 37% of total methane emissions.
The climate of the Earth is changing, and it is due to excessive emissions of greenhouse gases. The largest contributor to these emissions is related to human food. The livestock industry contributes about 17.5% of total greenhouse gas emission, but the transportation involved in movement of food adds another 13% to that total.
Producing 1 kilogram of meat will emit 36.4 kilograms of carbon dioxide. We can consider it this way. If you eat a bowl of beef noodles or a 6-ounce steak, that's about 1/6 of a kilogram of carbon dioxide emissions. That's equivalent to the following: running an energy-saving light bulb for 16 hours, a television for 1.75 hours, a washing machine for 34 minutes, a space heater for 24 minutes, or an air conditioner for 16 minutes.
The ecosystem on Earth has been pushed out of balance, and it can naturally slowly regain balance, but humans are pushing things off course, so the Earth can't regain equilibrium. Eating vegetarian is a small first step that people can take that will have a positive impact on the environment.
For a typical meat eater, they will contribute to the production of 1,500 kilograms of carbon dioxide emissions in a single year, while a vegetarian will only contribute to about 430 kilograms of emissions, a difference of about 1,070 kilograms. If that difference were translated into carbon dioxide absorbing trees, you would have essentially planted 7 trees for every month and 82 trees in a year. In contrast to the cost of eating a plate of meat, it is something to consider.
Tzu Chi is a student at Bayan Lepas Tzu Chi Kindergarten in Malaysia. Each year, he participates in the Vegiland Passport campaign. This year, he vows to invite 10 people to be vegetarian. To date, 7 family members have answered his appeal.
I'm Tzu Chi, and I'm 6 years old. This is my Vegiland passport. I want to invite my family to love the earth and animals.
Tzu Chi's wish seems easy, but it is difficult to execute.
I was born and raised in a fishing village, so fish to us is healthy food.
The mother says so because
He used to love eating fish, but now he will remind me. Mom, do you remember I don't eat fish? Don't cook fish, don't buy fish.
Tzu Chi's changes started when he was 4 years old. When the Tzu Chi kindergarten he went to was promoting the Vegiland Passport campaign, it became his wish to save the earth.
那你要找多少位啊
？10位。
10位，现在找了多少位
？3位。
还要找多少位
？7位。
你要找谁？
我叔叔，我婶婶，还有我的外公，我的外婆。
Tanzania's answer in being vegetarian is very simple.
Because I want to save the earth and animals.
从孩子4岁的时候
When he was 4 years old, he said it was okay to eat 1 to 2 meals with meat. But now he is very firm in being vegetarian. He keeps telling us to save the earth and animals. What I have learned from him is more than what I have taught him.
Not wanting animals to be in pain helped Tanzania fulfill his dream, as his family is now vegetarian.
More and more people are realizing that a vegetarian diet has a hugely positive impact on the planet. In July, Tzu Chi volunteers from Danshui, New Taipei City invited locals to go meatless as a way to help the environment. As a part of their campaign, volunteers prepared vegetarian lunchboxes once a week for the entire month of August. On August 11th, some 40 volunteers gathered at the Tzu Chi Guandu grounds to prepare some 1,200 lunchboxes. Here's more.
Early in the morning, the Tzu Chi Guandu grounds is already bustling with activity as some 40 volunteers cook up a storm in the kitchen. Various ingredients are being cooked in these large woks. This laborious task has been left in the hands of Tzu Chi brothers, who have more than 5 years of culinary experience. Even the sides have been chosen carefully to ensure a well-balanced meal.
There is a main dish and there are green, red, black side dishes. We've made sure that the lunchbox is flavorful and also appealing to the eye so that when residents open it up, they will want to eat it.
The climate is getting warmer, and the fastest way to save the earth is through a vegetarian diet.
As soon as vegetarian dishes are ready, a group of Tzu Chi sisters work together to pack more than 1,000 lunch boxes. Over an hour later, they're ready to be delivered to various communities. The lunch boxes have been delivered to 9 boroughs in Damsui that have responded to Tzu Chi's vegetarian campaign. Residents of Yotze Borough were invited by the borough head to enjoy a vegetarian meal at the community center.
I wouldn't mind replacing meat with a vegetarian diet. This tastes great.
Because we eat so much meat on a daily basis, we thought we'd make every Monday a vegetarian day. It'll do us good in the long run.
Tzu Chi's vegetarian campaign was also well received by a local company.
When we visited Siberia, the average temperature is supposed to be between 8 to 10 degrees Celsius, but on our most recent visit, it was 35 degrees Celsius. So I think what you are advocating is a great idea.
Just by changing what we eat, we can slow down global warming. Tzu Chi volunteers hope their efforts will inspire more people to respond to their call to action.
6 years ago, Xu Qinghua went through a divorce and career setbacks along with a second stroke. Despite these challenges, he continues to care for his children, a son with diabetes and kidney disease, and a younger son with cerebral palsy. Xu has bravely taken care of all of them despite his own troubles.
My eldest son is at home and he helps feed his younger brother and help bathe him because it's inconvenience for me to do it.
Xu Qinghua carefully feeds his son, putting every bite of food into his mouth.
If he is able to swallow more food, he will open his mouth.
His youngest son suffers from cerebral palsy, and his eldest son is diabetic and has a kidney disease as well as hearing impairments. While each has their own physical challenges, they all work together to help each other.
How long ago was this picture taken? It must have been a long time ago. When I was young, I liked to raise bees. If I said that I was the second best beekeeper, nobody could say they were the best.
Here we see Xu Qinghua's body covered with bees. This was the peak of his career as a beekeeper, and he has many stories about this profession. But 6 years ago, his life took a sudden turn.
他是男人嘛，他不会说一些很细微。
As a man, he's not able to speak in a refined way. You can see by his actions and his concern for his children that without them, he would be harder on himself and closed off. But because of these two children, he carries on to give them hope for the future.
生命给孩子一个未来的一个希望跟盼望。
Because of a divorce and heavy business losses associated with a stroke, Xu cut himself off from others. His friends sought out help from a social worker. Prior to turning 55, Xu had a different relationship with the community because of his employment and economic standing.
If you don't do anything, a bad situation will simply never change.
Although Mr. Xu has support, his current situation still poses its own challenges. Mr. Xu uses his own example to guide his children as encouragement to overcome adversity.
A middle-aged couple has transformed a small truck into a mobile bakery and is driving around the island to visit facilities which house disadvantaged children. They want to show these children some love by making fresh mantou for them.
This truck has been given a special name, Simple Joy, as the couple who own it drive around the island to help underprivileged children. Jin Baoi enjoys visiting children around Taiwan, allowing them to engage in DIY bread making. Seeing them smile is the best reward. The couple spends their money to buy ingredients instead of paying for a hotel, as they simply sleep on the truck each night.
We simply move these things to the front of the truck, and then my husband sleeps here and I sleep here. It's just enough room for the two of us.
This couple also bathe in the truck as they have everything they need, such as gas and a number of buckets, to live a very simple life.
When the water is at the right level, then I get in here, and I have a bucket which contains some soap.
This couple began their tour around Taiwan as his wife suffered a hand injury and was restless when confined at home for recovery.
I didn't feel good resting at home, so I told my husband we should travel the island. But then I thought that such a trip would also be boring. Then I thought up the idea of making mantou.
The couple seeks out schools catering to underprivileged children to make their mantou. This couple's children have already grown up, so they are looking to contribute to others and add more value to their life.
After doing it, I felt that it was quite worthwhile. There were a few places we didn't visit, so we decided to extend our trip this year.
This couple have found the simple joy of making bread as they wish to share it with the less fortunate. Now their truck is busy traveling throughout Taiwan to visit less fortunate children around the island.
In China's Fujian province, the price for recycled glass is so low that very few people are willing to collect it for recycling. However, a group of Tzu Chi volunteers from Nanjing County have taken it upon themselves to collect glass bottles that have been discarded.
Tzu Chi volunteers from Nanjing County, Fujian province, work under the scorching sun to collect glass bottles for recycling. Although Tzu Chi volunteer Cheng Su Li suffers from lower back pain, she sets aside her pain and focuses on the task at hand.
These glass bottles were mixed with the other trash. Nobody bothered to separate it or collect it for recycling. Since Tzu Chi volunteers have been advocating environmental protection and they recycle glass, we're collecting them to keep our environment clean.
Soon these bags are filled with glass bottles, which is even heavy for two people to carry. In Fujian, prices are so low for recycled glass bottles that very few people are willing to collect them for recycling.
I think what we're doing is to the benefit of society and Mother Earth. The earth is getting hotter, the weather is getting more erratic, and there was severe flooding in northern China. I think we should all be doing more.
We are doing this to protect our planet and so that we don't pollute the environment. I feel healthier the more I do. We are doing something good and accumulating merit.
Although collecting glass bottles is an arduous task, these volunteers remain firm in their resolve to reduce pollution and safeguard our planet.
Helping to teach environmental conservation lessons when young, some daycares in Xizhi, New Taipei City decided to bring their students to the Tzu Chi Recycling Center so they may learn about protecting Mother Earth.
This answer is halfway right, except the volunteers at the recycling station sort materials, not garbage.
We learned today about all the different things plastic bottles can become. We saw they can be made into lots of useful things, like notebooks and clothes. I think after they go home today, they'll have new appreciation of the planet and will do more to protect the planet.
During summer break, the recycling station in Xizhi, New Taipei, has become a classroom for the young students. Teachers from the Xiaoxiang daycare class, as well as the Shane English School, both have brought their students to come learn about recycling.
I want to go home and tell my mom and dad about the things Tzu Chi showed me. I want to bring them here.
I want to come back with my mom and dad someday.
Taking care of the earth isn't something one person can do by themselves. I hope that the children will keep recycling and encourage others to do it as well.
Even small actions can have a big impact on planet Earth. Just like teaching these youngsters to care for the planet by recycling materials will hopefully lead them to influence their whole family.
Next, students of the nursing department from Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology took the opportunity to spend their summer in Malaysia to gain more medical experience.
Under the canopy of a tree, a group of nursing students from Taiwan's Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology are helping an owner open his Indian pancake shop.
If one doesn't look too closely, he doesn't look any different from the rest of us, and we wouldn't know he's sick and needs dialysis. After the dialysis procedure, one is often too ill to work, but he remains determined to open up shop each day. I'm quite impressed with his relentless spirit.
These nursing students from TCOS are in Malaysia on a student exchange. The nurses from Tzu Chi Dialysis Center in Kedah also arranged for the students to visit patients of different ethnicity so they can learn more about the local customs.
Even though they are dialysis patients, their water usage is still restricted. In such hot weather, they must wear their traditional wear. If it was me, I would feel very uncomfortable. In the future, I will show more empathy towards my patients for what they are going through.
At the dialysis center, the Taiwanese students learn how to care for patients by first observing their nurses while working.
At the dialysis center, one has to take off one's shoes upon entering. It gave me a sense of home. Once you are inside, you are family, and together the nurses take care of you. These small gestures make this atmosphere very welcoming and warm.
This trip overseas is sure to give these future nurses-to-be more empathy in caring for their patients.
At the end of the program, we joined Tzu Chi volunteers in Kaohsiung as they help a senior who hoards clean up her home. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us.